Welcome back to Student of the Gun Homeroom. I am your host, Paul Markel. Now, all of you Robin Hood fans out there know the term the king's deer. Now, what does that mean? The king's deer, the deer in England, belonged to the king, and in order to take one or to harvest it, you had to get express permission from the king. And if you took one of the king's deer without his permission, where'd you end up? You either ended up in jail or having your neck stretched. Well, it looks like in the United States of America, we've transcended beyond the king's deer. Not only do we have the king's deer, but we have the king's sunshine, the king's trees, the king's mountains. Why do I say that? Well, recently in a national park up in Alaska, a daycare provider took 6 of her children, ages 3 to 8, out to a picnic. They went into the national park and they had a picnic. They had a good time and they went back. Well, it seems a few days later that a federal employee, a federal park services officer, went to the home of the daycare provider. And he asked her if she'd been out in the park on a picnic with the children. When she said that she had, he issued her a citation. What? Yes, right. The Park Services employee issued the daycare provider a ticket for failing to get a permit before she took the kids on her impromptu picnic to the state park, or I'm sorry, the national park. Let that sink in for a second. Paul, you're like, that can't possibly be true. Aha! Let me cite my source. And I've got my source right down here on my little cheat monitor. The source is the Alaska Dispatch, and the title of the story, if you'd like to Google it, because you know you're going to, is Forest Service Drops Prosecution of Kitty Picnic After Murkowski Intervenes. Well, what had to happen was Senator Lisa Murkowski had to intervene to have the citation against the daycare provider dropped. Now, what was her crime? Her crime was failing to get permission from the Park Service before she took the children on her picnic, because they claimed that she was doing it as a for hire. It was for a business. Yes, that's right. A Park Service employee thought it would be a good idea to go to this daycare provider's home and to cite her for taking these little children on a picnic in a national forest. Now, you might be asking yourself, who pays for the national forest, Paul? Is it not paid for by the citizens? I think it is. Who pays the salaries for the National Forest Service employees? Is it not the citizens? Yes, it is. It took a United States senator to get this ticket stopped. Ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages, we are living in an upside-down world. And if you don't think that's the case, you're not paying attention. So, before you take your little kitties on a picnic to the national park, you'd better get permission from the king to look at his trees, absorb his sunshine, and sit in the shade of his mountains. For all things Student of the Gun, we want you to go to studentofthegun.com. That's right, studentofthegun.com. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and don't forget to leave your comments below. To subscribe, click right here. To learn more about firearms training, click right here. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Student of the Gun.